So you guys may remember this little video I made 7 months ago called The Most Powerful Jedi and Sith in Star Wars Canon Part 1. And if not, well, basically I explained in that video that I've gone through a mountain of Star Wars content for the purposes of power scaling the entire canon universe. And I meant to put out a Part 2, but it was such a daunting task, and I felt like each character on the tier list could have their own video, and there was no way I was going to pack enough information in like a 20-minute video for me to ever be happy with it. Every time I tried to write it, it just became more and more difficult. So, not to make the story any longer, I decided I'll just make individual videos for the characters in addition to the MCU and DCEU videos that I've been making for 2 years now. And to kick off the series, I'd like to start with one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, Jedi Master Mace Windu. And just to be 100% clear, this video will be covering the current canon only. So anything created prior to April 25th, 2014, other than what Disney has accepted as canon, will not be considered for this video. So with all that being said, let's discuss the power of Mace Windu. Mace Windu is a human male who was sent to the Jedi Order at a young age and trained by Jedi Master Sizzlin Mir. Despite early struggles, Windu quickly rose through the ranks of the Jedi Order, passed the trials, and became a Jedi Master and earned a seat on the Jedi Council, acting as the Master of the Order, who is the leader of the Jedi High Council. This is different from the Grand Master, who was the head of the Jedi Order itself. Throughout the Clone Wars, Mace had dismantled and destroyed over 100,000 Type 1 battle droids and was considered the Jedi's greatest battlefield warrior and the champion of the Jedi Council. Mace was respected throughout the Order, and many considered his abilities to be on par with Grand Master Yoda. A respected Jedi with powers on par with the venerable Yoda, Mace Windu was a senior member of the Jedi High Council, and his wisdom and judgment were legendary. Risa Mano, a Jedi Knight active during the Clone Wars, considered Mace Windu one of the top 5 greatest Jedi of all time, and even Anakin Skywalker, a character who had every reason to dislike Master Windu, commented on his powers, suggesting that Mace was the most powerful Jedi in the Order, while bragging on his own master, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, let's dig into his power levels a little bit more. Of course, Mace's best feat would be fighting and defeating the most powerful Sith Lord to ever live, Darth Sidious, who at this point was the culmination of thousands of years of Sith progress via the Rule of Two. And since this is Mace's most notable feat, I'd like to spend a decent amount of time here to debunk any wild claims that Sidious was either holding back or lost on purpose. First of all, Mace Windu is one of the greatest duelists in the history of the Order, and his lightsaber was as close to perfection as you could possibly come. Quote, "He crafts his second lightsaber using the highest standards of precision, creating a superior weapon that represents his mature abilities as a Jedi leader." Regarded as one of the best lightsaber fighters of the Jedi Order, Mace is a master of combat techniques that sometimes tread dangerously close to dark side practices. And there are plenty of more quotes from various guidebooks about Mace's skill. Quote, "A master of combat, Mace Windu is one of the best living lightsaber fighters." But let's quantify Mace's skill a bit more with a statement from the newly released The Star Wars book. Quote, "Mace Windu is second only to Master Yoda in lightsaber prowess." So Mace is powerful, and Mace is very, very skilled. But let's take a closer look at the duel with Sidious. If the champion of the Jedi Order is so strong and so adept in combat, how did he fail to protect 3 very skilled Jedi Masters in their own right? Well, luckily we have an answer within the definitive guide to the Star Wars universe. Another quote, "Only 4 Jedi of Mace's generation have fought a Sith Lord. Before Mace realizes what happened, Kolar, Tin, and Fisto have fallen to Sidious's blade." So clearly Mace underestimates the ability of Sidious initially, but after his fellow Jedi are slain, Mace is no longer lackadaisical. He fights Sidious with his greatest weapon, the Pod, a unique fighting style developed by Mace himself that separates himself from other legendary Jedi such as Yoda and Anakin Skywalker. Fans of Star Wars Legends, or the Expanded Universe as it's known, will know of the pod. However, in canon, it works a bit differently. Jedi who practiced Juyo were careful to balance their inner darkness with the tranquility offered by the light side of the Force. It was in this way Mace Windu developed the Vapad variant, a form that allowed him to channel his inner darkness toward positive outcomes, to harness his anger without allowing it to control him. So Mace had a distinct advantage over his fellow Jedi. With Vapad, not only could he use the light side of the Force, but could also receive a significant power boost from the dark side using his anger without falling to it. This is how Mace was able to succeed where Yoda, a Jedi stated to be the better duelist, failed. Mace was equal to Yoda's power in the light side, but could eclipse Yoda's potential by utilizing the dark side, something Sidious was not prepared for. Now, let's talk about the theory that Sidious allowed Mace Windu to win. First, there's no evidence of this other than headcanon and legends sources. Remember, this is canon we're talking about. So let's go into the official sources for confirmation. These are going to be quotes from StarWars.com and the Star Wars book. When Palpatine is almost defeated, Anakin is tempted by the Sith's offer to save Padme, so he turns on Mace, cutting off his forearm. Windu disarms Palpatine and forces the Sith Lord into the corner of his spacious office window. You're one of the most powerful Jedi ever, and you go to arrest the Chancellor for his treachery in manufacturing both sides of the war. Palpatine proceeds to murder the team you brought with you. In a prolonged lightsaber fight, you're finally able to disarm the Sith Lord and are ready to pounce. Palpatine fired Force Lightning in defense, but Windu used his lightsaber blade to reflect it back on its wielder. Knowing that Windu would kill Palpatine, Anakin interfered. All of these statements confirm that Mace Windu defeated Sidious in the duel by disarming him and would have killed him without Anakin's interference. There are no statements that Sidious let Mace win. There are no statements that Sidious was holding back. There are no statements that Sidious was waiting for Anakin. Sidious simply used his loss and vulnerable position to play Anakin's emotions to save himself. So with all that said, with Vapad, Mace Windu is able to surpass the power of Yoda and the power of all the Sith, as Sidious is an embodiment of all their power and has access to the entire dark side of the Force. In the end, you can believe what you want and make any theories that you'd like, but I will side with the official statements that Mace is equal to Yoda in power, someone who nearly beat Sidious himself, but like mentioned multiple times already, Mace has Vapad in his back pocket, which puts him above those two characters. Even if you do want to say that Sidious had planned for Anakin to save him, it didn't really matter. Here's another quote. Windu's final mission was an ill-fated attempt to arrest Chancellor Palpatine, which would have been successful had it not been for the last-minute intervention of Anakin Skywalker, simply meaning that Mace Windu had the ability and had the power to arrest Darth Sidious, and he needed Anakin to save him, not that he wanted Anakin to save him for the purposes of turning him to the dark side. It was a necessity to spare his life. But before we move off of this fight, I'd like to quickly discuss the tail end where Mace is blocking Sidious's Sith Lightning, as I think it's pretty underestimated as a feat of strength and durability for Windu. So of course, Sidious is the most powerful Sith of all time. I don't think there's any arguing that, at least up until this point. But his lightning is especially nasty, so let's take a look at some explanations of this dark side ability. Virtually impossible to deflect, Sith Lightning causes excruciating pain and weakens life. A Force user can block the lethal Force Lightning for a while if they are strong, but it takes immense effort. Not only is it extremely difficult to block the lightning, Sidious can use this ability in conjunction with mental manipulation to torture the body and the mind simultaneously. If you will not be turned, you will be destroyed, cackles the Emperor, and as the hatred flows through him, the Sith Lightning intensifies and overcomes Luke. He can feel the Emperor's thoughts screaming in his own mind, the swirling chaos of fresh anger and long-held hatreds, dark memories, and darker hopes. These hurt his mind even more than the dark lightning hurts his body. Not only was Mace able to withstand this onslaught by Sidious and emerge victorious, he was actually weakened before the fight even began. Yet, as the war drags on, Yoda and Mace Windu sense a gathering darkness that diminishes their ability to use the Force. To add a bit more consistency to Mace Windu's overall power, he was able to battle against Mother Talzin. And Talzin was able to match Sidious's power before being overwhelmed by Sidious, Dooku, and General Grievous. And now that we've discussed the elephant in the room, let's talk about the other abilities and feats displayed by Mace Windu. At the beginning of the Clone War, Mace leads a group of Jedi into the first battle, and during this conflict, Mace is seen casually running through the Separatist droids and then easily defeats the legendary bounty hunter Jango Fett, who Obi-Wan struggled against earlier in the film. Mace's precognition and force control is legendary and is shown off multiple times throughout the series. Without looking, he's able to casually deflect blaster bolts, he's able to reconstruct his incredibly complex lightsaber while captured, and again, not looking. Even force fields are no match for Mace. Droidekas, which many Jedi struggle against, are no problem as he can crush them inside of their own shields. Mace also has the ability to search and even overwhelm the mind through the Force, and can even force others to sleep if he needs to. Now, there is a unique ability that Mace has called Shatterpoint in Legends, but he doesn't have that in canon. At least nobody has confirmed that in any source that I've read through, and I've read through like every source. But honestly, there really isn't much Master Windu can't do, which is why he rose so quickly to become Master of the Order. His use of Vapad gives him a unique advantage over other Jedi. I mean, imagine if he wasn't so stubborn and just took Anakin as an apprentice. Can you imagine Anakin with Vapad? Actually unstoppable. But before we go, I'd like to mention his duel with Proset Dibs, a Jedi who would eventually join the Inquisitors and serve Darth Vader. Dibs helps hunt down the remaining Jedi after Order 66 and is pathetically killed by blaster fire, so a lot of people bring up Mace's duel with this bum as an anti-feat, but if you actually read the comic book where this duel takes place, it's clear that Mace Windu does not want to engage in a duel with Dibs at all. He tries to speak with him and show him the error of his ways, and when that doesn't work, Mace just one-shots him with a force push. So, I mean, it's not an anti-feat at all. And that's all of the major information that I've collected on Mace Windu. He has other minor feats like fighting Gundarks without a lightsaber, among other things, but nothing as notable as what was mentioned previously. But what do you guys think? Do I overestimate Mace Windu's power? What character would you like to see a video on next? Let me know down in the comments, and if you're interested in debating this topic with me, feel free to join our Discord, which can be found in the description. I hope to see you guys there, and remember the motto, it's Mace Windu over everything, and I'll see you guys next time.